everyone. Welcome back inside Centura Health Training Center for another episode of Broncos Now. As always, I'm your host, Sydney Jones. And coming up on today's episode, Hall of Fame safety Steve Atwater joins the show. We'll take a look back at Sunday's win and discuss the team's mindset at practice this week. All that and more coming up. Joining me on today's episode here in the Broncos podcast studio is Hall of Fame safety, Mr. Steve Atwater. Steve, thanks for joining the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me on again, Sid. We got the dub.
Of course. I know. How are you feeling? Good? We finally got a win?
I feel amazing. And any win in the NFL is hard, so
100%.
I'm grateful for it.
Me too.
We all need to be grateful.
Me too. And what a comeback from the Broncos. What a game.
Yeah.
I know we were sitting on the edge of our seats for the
exactly
in the press box up there.
A little bit sad, like, oh, man, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out. But it turned out really nicely. Now, I went back and watched kind of a summary of all the highlight plays.
Yeah.
It was an exciting game to watch.
It really was.
It was a good game. It was very entertaining.
A good game.
Now, it had us on the edge of our seats, but, the final result was what we wanted. And, again, it was a really, really good play ball game.
Yeah. Now, Steve, I don't know if you know this, but Russell Wilson has now recorded 32 fourth-quarter comebacks in his career, which now he ranks in the top 10 in that category.
Oh,
which is pretty impressive.
Hey, he's stacking them up. He's stacking up a few different accolades here and there. And the thing that I love about Russ is just his work ethic, and he has a tireless, positive attitude, and he brings that throughout the locker room. You need positive people in the locker room, especially when things aren't going the way that you envision them going.
And a lot of players said that following the game in the locker room. I know Cortland Sutton did, Mike McGlinchey did that. He was on the sideline pumping up this team saying, hey, the Bears know we're coming back. We're going to win this. So that was great to hear. Just how his attitude kind of sparked a change in this team.
And now, can you imagine going forward, having that experience of being down, and then your leaders telling you that, hey man, we can do this, and then you doing it,
right?
You believe now.
For sure. Well, Steve, let's talk about Russ's game because it was arguably one of the best of his Broncos career. He threw for 3 touchdowns on 75% completions. No interceptions. Overall, what did you just think about his performance?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good performance. I think he's been playing well all year long, really. Yeah. And I know we've had some drops. We've had touchdowns called back. We've had, some fumbles here and there. So when we can put it all together and we also do the things that we normally do in terms of protecting the football and, not jumping off sides and, catching the passes that are thrown our way and blocking, good things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's just a natural byproduct. I think this is a great offensive system, and the more practice we get in it, the more reps we get in it, I think the better this team is going to be. And I'm super happy for the guys to come out, especially to be down by so many points and then come back, fight their way back tooth and nail and get the victory. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah. Seems like Russell's becoming more and more comfortable with Sean Payton's scheme, week by week. Steve, let's talk about some of the receivers here. I know Russ spread the ball around pretty well on Sunday.
Yeah, he targeted 11 different guys. 10 of them caught passes, and that's quite a few people to throw the ball to because you think about the timing with each of the different receivers that, you have to get that down with each and every receiver. So to have 10 people you feel comfortable throwing the ball to really says something about his connection with the team.
Yeah, for sure. And we got to talk about running back Jaleel McLaughlin too. What a bright spot for this team. He's just so fun to watch out there. And, knowing him, his energy too, who he is as a person, it's hard not to root for him.
Yeah, he's such an explosive player. And like you said, he just has a wonderful personality. I remember meeting him at the indoor practice facility during training camp, and he seemed like such a nice young man. And we were all pulling for him, and he's really come through. And I have faith in all the players, right? For
sure.
But I thought it was kind of a long shot for him, but man, he's surpassed all the odds. He's surpassed a lot of people's expectations, and I think the sky's the limit for him.
I think so too, and I know head coach Sean Payton said that they're going to keep expanding his role. So looking forward to see what that looks like. Going to be a tough one this weekend though, given how dominant this Jets defense is.
Yeah, man, interior, they're tough. The linebackers are very good players, and in the secondary, they got playmakers all over that defense. And I think at this point they're going to be going up against our strength, which right now our offense has
Right.
been playing a little bit better than the defense has. And so, hopefully our offense will be ready for the challenge. And their offense has been struggling a little bit. They got back on track. They played the Chiefs really closely, which, man, I was like, wow, that was impressive for them to be in that game.
Right.
And they're going up against our defense, who is improving. And our defense really needs to come out and have a solid game. We got to have a good game plan for them. And, hey, we got to leave it on the field. We got to leave it on the field. No questions. You don't want to leave any stone unturned.
For sure. Yeah, Steve, let's look at our defense. They struggled a bit in the first half of the game, but what adjustments did you see from them, I guess specifically in the secondary versus the Bears?
Yeah, well, I saw a few things as the game went on where guys were kind of out of position. You have two guys outside of a blocker when one guy should be inside, one guy should be outside. So just, positioning.
Right.
And sometimes guys out of position at the start of the play and, a little late to get over to where they need to be. And those types of things can be fixed relatively quickly, but they do have to be fixed. If they don't get fixed, then it'll continue to go on week in, week out. So they made those adjustments, though, in the second half, and the defense, they were able to come up with some amazing plays.
Yeah.
Especially Nick Bonito and Jay Coop, man.
I know.
They had me so excited up in the press box. And, again, just so happy for them as well to experience that level of achievement.
Yeah. Steve, I have to give you some props because what some of our fans might know, but you've been talking about Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper for months now. You knew that this was going to be the season that they really, got things going.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know it, but just from watching them in training camp, they were flying around. And I always say, man, how you practice is how you play. And they practice hard. They give it everything they have. And it's nice to see that when the game comes around, they're able to do that same thing and play with that same level of intensity. And they're making big plays for this team. And I think everyone on the team appreciates that. I know Sean Payton does. He got to give both the game ball. So that's kudos to them for working so hard and getting recognized for it.
Yeah. Steve, when you watch them, what specifically impresses you about their games?
Well, the effort. And for me, I'll take 11 guys with great effort over 11 guys with great talent and poor effort.
Yeah.
And the effort, the skill, the amount of work that they've put into their craft, it's paying off. And you like to see that. You like to see when guys work hard. Nick Bonito, when he came in last year, a lot of people were saying that, hey, he's not good against the run. He wasn't the greatest against the run, but he has worked on that element of his game, and he's much better. And he uses his speed and his strength to play it differently. He's not necessarily a super stout guy, but he finds a way to get around that with his speed, and he's still able to be effective.
Yeah. Well, Steve, coming off this performance for this defense, how they finished the game, how do you hope to see them, just continue that into this week for this Jets game?
Yeah, well, I mean, it all comes down to practice.
Yeah.
Again, you got to look at the things that you didn't do properly. And, there was quite a few things that we didn't do well. And we got to correct those things. And until you correct those things, it's hard to go forward. And once those things are corrected, you can move forward and knowing that, hey, that was a part of the past. Now going forward, we're going to do it this way. And we're going to be a much better team for it.
Steve, last one here for you. I know the talk this week has really been about balancing the fact that, of course, this is the first win of the season for the team. They want to celebrate that, but also not being content with how they performed on Sunday. We've talked about it. They have improvements that they need to correct. So, what do you think is the focus this week at practice as, they look to get their first win at home this weekend?
A win is a win in the NFL. Any win is difficult, and you have to pat yourself on the back because you did something that a lot of people will never experience. And you got to, again, take the good from it, learn from the bad, and be better the next week. And I thought the effort was much better this game all around. There was great effort given offensively, defensively, special teams wise. And that needs to continue week in, week out. That needs to be the standard. When you look at film, you see 11 guys flying around, playing until the whistle. And if you don't see that, then you're taking a step backwards. But I think going forward, we're going to see that every single game. And again, I'm happy that they won this first one, and I'm going to be even more happier when they get this, especially the home victory. The home crowd, they need a victory. It's been a while since Broncos country has had a victory here in a power field at Mile High. So hopefully we'll get it. We'll get it against the Jets.
Well, Steve, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks again for having me on, Sid.
Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Broncos Now, Broncos Country. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll meet you right back here on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube tomorrow for another episode. I'll see you all then.